Taming the Demon by Amilevskiro. Chapter 32. To the Tokyo Dome of the Decisive Battle. The team arrived at the arena with all of its usual shenanigans and found the fat ass and mini fat ass already sitting there, eyes completely bloodshot from the completely unnecessary all-nighter they just pulled. The announcer started introducing players as they walked out, beginning with Seibu. It would appear that Mata seemed to have broken through Tetsuma's obedience-based exterior. Upon Shien's introduction, Hiruma overheard Maruko explaining to his team about who Shien actually was and where he came from. The crafty little mugger seemed to have done his research. What was much more interesting to Hiruma, though, was what happened when the Hakushu dinosaurs were introduced. First, Maruko was introduced as a ball-handling expert and control tower, which gave Hiruma some clearer insight into the Hakushu quarterback's skills. Second, the player that entered the field upon Gao's introduction, the right arm of Hakushu apparently, was definitely not Gao. Instead, a skinny, effeminate individual walked onto the field, much to everyone's confusion, prompting a few wild theories about shrinking. That's a guy, right? Practically sparkled as he put his hand to face like he was feverish and about to faint. The announcer amended her intro, referring to this person as Kisaragi Hiromi, the left arm of Hakushu. Hiruma let that information roll around in his head for a minute as the two teams set up for the first play. Sparkling, near-fainting Kisaragi was on the same level as the monster that was Gao. He must be hiding one heck of a skill. The game began with Seibu's offense, and it was clear how the Hakushu players were expecting this to go. Maruko shrugged, Hiromu looked away, and Gao was struck dumb when Shien threw the ball before the lineman got within a foot of it. By the time Gao noticed, he was a scant few inches from Shien's face, and Riku had caught the ball for a 4-yard gain. The cowboy hadn't even flinched. Gao grinned. The match continued in that fashion. Shien used short passes to advance his line and prevent Gao from reaching him until Seibu scored the first touchdown. Some third year on the Hakushu bench had a meltdown and was ready to throw in the towel right then and there. Until Hakushu scored its own touchdown, in which Maruko had the ball and ran in the wake of Gao's destruction. No tricks, barely any strategy, no way to stop it. But that was fine. Like Damon, Seibu was all about offense. If they score 99 points, then we'll score 100. Riku reinforced this point by immediately scoring a touchdown of his own. The short blonde's roping rodeo drive was a genius technique, and it intrigued Hiruma that Maruko figured it out after only seeing it once. The touchdown was followed by an onside kick that allowed Seibu to reclaim possession of the ball. It was clear that the wild gunman had completely given up on any semblance of defense in order to continue attacking. Between Shien's quick draw, Riku's rodeo drive, and Tetsuma being generally unstoppable, everything was going according to Shien's plan. Until he hesitated. Hiruma didn't know what happened. There were no distractions on the field, no reason for Shien to lose focus. He made eye contact with Tetsuma, prepared his throw, and just paused. His eyes glazed over for a moment before he got really excited and he seemed to say something. Oh. Are you kidding me? Why? Why? Why would Shien choose now to finally say the words Christmas Bowl? Whatever epiphany he had cost him the precious seconds he needed to throw the ball, the seconds he needed to save himself. Gao wasted him from the left side, his arm shattered just below his shoulder and just above the wrist. His left knee awkwardly twisted, and there was a splatter of blood on the ground from where his helmet must have torn at his ear as it flew off. His eyes were wide and his face was pale from the shock of the impact. He laid in the dirt like a broken doll. He laid there like a corpse. Shivers went up and down Hiruma's spine as he looked down on the spectacle from the stands. From the statistics alone, the blonde knew this would happen, that it was a miracle in and of itself that Shien had lasted this long. Shien had done everything Hiruma would do. Seibu had done everything Damon would do. There wasn't a single decision that the blonde would have changed. And still, Shien was dropped like a sack of bricks. Hiruma knew he was next. He wasn't the only one. Next to him, a small brunette running back went very still. His little spine straightened, his tiny hands curled into fists, and his short legs tensed. Demon turned to look at Hiruma. The rage persona didn't say anything. He didn't have to. His gaze said everything. It said that Damon and Seibu were similar, but not identical. It said that Damon would go into her match with Hakushu with so much more information than Seibu had. It said that just because Seibu did everything Damon would do, didn't mean Seibu did everything that Damon could do. Hiruma very badly wanted to take comfort in that gaze. The analytical side of his brain wouldn't let him. The gaze also said they would be having words about this later. Hiruma returned his focus to the field. Shien had been carted off and the gunmen were attempting to regroup. They weren't getting very far when Tetsuma screamed. In hindsight, Hiruma supposed the receiver's reaction should have been expected. Tetsuma had been following Shien around since they were both 4 years old, and now Shien couldn't be followed anywhere. In direct response, the ever-obedient, ever-reliable Tetsuma snapped and started to rush Gao. Rikyu started calling the shots, following Tetsuma's lead, trying to break through the impenetrable wall Gao erected. It didn't work. With 3 minutes left on the clock, Seibu fell 50 points behind and Tetsuma, too, had to be carted off the field. You could hear in Manta's voice that his heart was breaking. And still, Rikyu did not give in. He was the only key player left still standing, and he was almost delirious with exhaustion, but he would not throw in the towel, and he demanded the same of his remaining players. Hiruma distinctly heard him scream, "If it were Damon, they wouldn't give up!" The kid had earned more than a little bit of Hiruma's respect today. Unfortunately, all the determination in the world could not save the gunman. The match ended when Rikyu, having stood back up after taking Go's tackle, passed clean out cold from pushing himself too far. Hakushu was meeting Damon for the finals of the Kanto tournament. Hiruma felt sick. He managed to disguise and distract himself from the anxiety by pushing Kurita forward to accept Gao's challenge, mostly because he was Damon's only hope in terms of strength, and decided to cause a little mayhem to make himself feel better. So he dragged the Devil Bats out to the Tokyo Dome where the final match would be held. He blackmailed a few guards, picked a few locks, and messed with everybody's head until not only were they playing baseball, but he was winning. The blonde was beginning to feel like his old self again, just as the game devolved into something weird. However, the idea of fighting Gao was still bothering the fat ass, so he made some calls and dragged a few idiots out of bed to come play with him. He also called Banba, who would speak to Kurita, lineman to lineman. And he did. The face he made when he heard Hiruma's whole plan for Kurita was hilarious as well. With it decided that Kurita would spend the week at a boxing gym with the Taiyo Sphinx, and everybody else packed up and headed home. Hiruma and Sena ended up walking alone together. The blonde was trying not to look at his companion. Every time he did, he saw Rikyu hitting the dirt. His mind had started to overlay the small blonde with Sena, and the sick feeling started to come back. He still wasn't looking at Sena when small fingers intertwined with his. That was okay, though, because Sena wasn't looking at him either. Even as he spoke. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine, because not only will we beat Hakushu and go to the Christmas Bowl, but we will also win at the Christmas Bowl, too. And we need you for both those matches. We need everybody for both those matches. The brunette stopped walking, tugging on Hiruma's arm so that he stopped too, and used his free hand to force the blonde to look him in the eyes. Everything will be fine. Because we will all protect each other, and nobody will get hurt like Kid-san and Tetsuma-san did today. The smaller player reached up and planted a firm little kiss on Hiruma's lips to drive the point home, before he carried on walking, pulling Hiruma along with him. Even as the blonde decided that Sena's calm determination would be what the team needed in a quarterback, after Hiruma was removed from the game. he noticed that he no longer felt sick. With a few simple sentences, a kiss, and hands interwoven, Kobayakawa Sena had banished any trace of anxiety from Hiruma's mind. The blonde tightened his fingers around the kids and smiled.